Hello students, now we are going to learn history chapter number 1, when, where and how. In this particular chapter, we are going to learn about the division of period in history. Now, we all know that history is divided into 3 periods, that is ancient history, medieval history and modern history. About ancient history, you learned in 6th standard. Now in 7th standard, you are going to learn about the medieval history, and that medieval history contains the period between 700 CE to 1800 CE. CE means what, students? CE means Common Era. That consists of, this is the long period of 1100 years, and this medieval period is divided into, that is early medieval period and later medieval period. Early medieval period contains 8th century to 12th century duration, and later medieval period is about 13th century to 18th century duration. Now in this chapter we are going to learn about the medieval history of India. Okay, now pay attention over here. Emergence of a new era. The medieval period in India covers the period from 700 AD to about 1750 AD. This long period of about 1100 years can be divided into 2 phases, that is early medieval period and the later medieval period. With the coming of the Turks and the Mughals, the new costumes like churidar, kurta pajama and sherwani emerged. Now, in earlier time, what happens? People wear what? Dhoti kurta, right? But with the arrival of Turks and Mughals, which kind of new costumes arrived or emerged? That is churidar, kurta pajama and sherwani. In the early medieval period, now first we are going to learn about the early medieval period, that is the periods between 8th to 13th century. In the early medieval period, we find that there were constant power struggles among the regional kingdoms of North and South India, characterized by the frequent rise and fall of kingdoms. Means what, students? Struggle means what? Troubles. There are many inter-troubles between what? Regional kingdoms of North and South continent, North and South India. The Palas, Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, Cholas and Rajputas were the powerful dynasty that ruled in different parts of India. These 5 dynasties are the most powerful dynasties that ruled in different parts of India during the early medieval period. Now, but along with these internal troubles means what? These powerful dynasties want to expand their kingdom, and that's why what they do? They trouble each other's kingdoms, or they struggle, or they conflict with each other. And in this trouble, this internal trouble, the Turkish invasion of India began from 1000 AD onwards. Ultimately, the Turks established their kingdom called the Delhi Sultanate. What happened? When the kings were internally fight with each other, at the time, who take the advantage of these fights? Turkish take the advantage of this fight, and they establish their kingdom, and that kingdom is known as Delhi Sultanate. This sultanate flourished between 1200 AD and 1526 AD. Means what, students? So during this period, Turkish established and developed their kingdom and witnessed the reigns means what? Control or ruling of Turks, Khiljis, Tughlaqs and Lodhis. The Delhi Sultanates were overthrown by the Mughals in the 16th century. With the arrival of these Muslim rulers, a new religion, Islam, new languages like Arabic and Persian came to India. Now student, when any new person enters, he brought up many new things with him, right? Like that only, when Turkish invade or invade in India and came in India for ruling, that time they come up with what? New types of costumes. Like that only, when Mughals invade in India and overthrown the Delhi Sultans, they would arrive with the new languages like Arabic and Persian. This new culture that evolved in India came to be known as Indo-Islamic culture. The advent of Muslims brought new types of food. Now, in food also very new types of varieties were found, that is biryani, korma, pulao and firni, etc. Mangoes, grapes, tobacco, chilies and ice were also introduced during this period. Towards the end of the 15th century, European traders began trading with India. The first to arrive were the Portuguese. We know that first when the British established their kingdom, or we can say then when British ruled in India, earlier who came in India to rule? First is Portuguese. They were followed by the English, the Dutch and the French. By the mid-18th century, the English managed to oust the other European trading powers, means English, British overthrown other English powers, that is European powers, that is the Portuguese, Dutch and French, and started the process of conquering and colonizing India. Conquering means what, students? Conquering means what? Fight. They fight with other ruling party, and what they do? Colonize means what? Emerge. Emerge their society means establish their society and their new kingdom in the India. You can see this flowchart for the better understanding. First, the regional kingdoms. We learn about 5 dynasties, that are the Pala dynasty, then Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, Cholas and Rajputas. These powerful dynasties conflict with each other in the early medieval period. Afterwards, in the 100 AD, who invade in India? That are the Turkish, and establish their kingdom, that is the Delhi Sultanate. And Delhi Sultanate overthrown by Mughals in the 16th century, and after the decline of Mughal and during the Mughals' reign, or you can say ruling of Mughal, European traders enter in India for the trading purpose, and first came in India for trading purpose is Portuguese, then English, Dutch and French in the later medieval period. So this all we can say that all these ruling parties, or you can say ruling dynasties, or you can say ruling eras came in India during the medieval period. Now, we are going to learn about impact of geography on Indian history, means how new invention done in India. The geography of a country influences its history to a great extent. Here we find some fascinating examples of how historical forces are shaped by geography. First, we can say that ports. First is the ports. Ports such as Surat, Masulipatam, Cambay, Cochin became major centers of internal and foreign trade. First, we earlier learned that European traders came in India for trading purpose, right? So what they found first, they make ports. Ports for what? Ports means what, students? जो हम सी रूट से ट्रेडिंग करते हैं बाय शिप्स, राइट? तो सी रूट से जो ट्रेडिंग होता है और जो भी गुड्स या मटेरियल्स हम एक कंट्री से दूसरी कंट्री में सेंड करते हैं, तो वो जो गुड्स हम सेंड करते हैं वो गुड्स को हमें कहीं पे रखना पड़ता है, राइट? अगर हम एक कंट्री से दूसरी कंट्री में गुड्स लेके आ रहे हैं तो वी सपोज टू पोस्ट देम on some area or at some place, right? So that place is known as port. Okay, so port is established and such major ports are Surat, Masulipattnam, Cambe, Cochin. Now second is the mountains in North India, especially in Rajasthan, led to the building of massive and strong forts. Second invasion or geographical, you can say, impact is the forts. Means in the mountainous areas where in the North India, especially in the Rajasthan, what happened from that mountains, what they build massive and strong forts in Chittorgarh, Jodhpur and Jaisalmer, which could not be easily breached by any enemy. Breached means what, student? No one can easily get entered into that place, that is the breached. Third is the water scarcity in Gujarat and Rajasthan led to the creation of bowlis. Now what do you mean by bowlis? Bowlis means what, students? Means step well. Step well, we all know that, right? In the middle area, water is available and around that water surface, what happens? The steps were formed. Means स्टेप्स बनाए जाते हैं और वो कैसे होते हैं? तो हाइट पे होते हैं. जो स्टेप्स को हम जब स्टेप्स डाउन स्टेयर्स करते हैं तो हम कहाँ पे आ सकते हैं? तो जो वाटर होता है वहां पे हम पहुंच सकते हैं. तो दैट इज द बाउलिस, दैट इज नोन एज स्टेप वेल for storing water. And why this building or why this structure has to be built up in this particular period? To store the water. Storing water, which are recognized today as unique example of water conservation. And fourth one is, during the medieval period, wars were fought frequently to control the important territories between the river Ganga and Yamuna and Godavari and Tungabhadra. Territory means what, students? Territory means what? Area near the rivers. You can say there here. टेरिटरी बिटवीन द रिवर्स मीन्स व्हाट? जब वॉर होती थी तो वो वॉर के टाइम पे क्या होता था? तो रिवर के अराउंड जो एरियाज होते थे वहां पे उसका ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट होता था. तो उनके सेफ्टी पर्पस के लिए क्या किया जाता था? तो वो जो एरियाज थे उनको अंडर कंट्रोल रखा जाता था. नाउ इनसाइड इन Baburnama, the Mughal Emperor Babur used the term Hindustan to describe geography, fauna and culture of the Indian subcontinent. Now fauna means what? Means animals. Okay. Now we are going to learn about how India described in different terminology. Means how different names of India came in arrive. Or you can say arrive. From the beginning of the medieval period, India has been known by different names from Aryavarta to Hindustan. India got its name Hindustan because of the people living around the Indus River. How this Hindustan name came over? Because of the people that are living around the Indus River. It is derived from a Persian word, and Hindustan word is come from which? Persian word, which means same as Sindhu in Sanskrit. Hind indicates the Indian subcontinents in Persian. Hind means what, students? So Indian subcontinents. And Arabic, in which language it is known as Indian subcontinent? Hind word is in Persian and Arabic. When the term Hindustan was used in the 13th century by the chronicles Minhaj as-Siraj. Chronicle means what, students? So that we are going to learn earlier in our chapter only. Chronicle is a one kind of book in which we can write about the kingdom or a particular ruling area. Okay, so in one chronicle, that is the book, that book name is Minhaj as-Siraj. He meant the area of Punjab, Haryana and the land between the Ganga and Yamuna, as this land was ruled by Delhi Sultans. हिंदुस्तान जो वर्ड है वो कैसे डिराइव, कैसे रखा गया है? तो वो कौन सी बुक में, कौन सी क्रॉनिकल में रखा, मतलब कि हिंदुस्तान वर्ड लिखा गया है? तो दैट इज द मिनहाज सिराज. एंड it covers the area of Punjab, Haryana and the land between Ganga and Yamuna. Or that areas are controlled by whom? Delhi Sultans. South India was not a part of this term when Babur used the term Hindustan, he used it in a broader sense to include the geographical and cultural characteristics of the entire Indian subcontinent. When Babur used this term Hindustan, he used this term in a broader sense. Means he explained Hindustan in a very broad sense. Why it is said like that? Because he used all geographical term of India, all the cultural events of India in that particular description of Hindustan. At that time, this term did not have any political meaning as it has today. India is often referred to as Bharat in Sanskrit literature. India is also known as Bharat Varsha. Now, sources of information. Historical sources are classified into two broad categories. One is literary and archaeological sources. Now, literary means what, students? Literary means written records. The literary sources of medieval India can be divided into indigenous or writings by the Indians and foreign accounts. Now we are going to learn about first literary sources, and literary sources again divided into two parts. That first is Indian records and second is foreign accounts. Apart from this, we have coins, inscriptions and architectures. Manuscripts were a very important source of information for this period, which stretches from 700 to 1750. But one problem of manuscript is that since they were copied by hand. Now what do you mean by manuscripts? Manuscripts means what, students? Scripts that were written by hand, copied by hand. Now if someone copied a script by hand, so there are so many mistakes that might be have mistakes. Why? Because it is written by hand only. Changes in words and sentences were brought in by scripts who copied these manuscripts. Now, scripts means what, students? So, scripts are the people who copied the manuscripts. Means those who are written down the scripts by their hands. Those peoples are known as scripts. Thus, new words, sentences change the meanings of the original manuscripts. Now, the original manuscript, if someone copied from the original manuscript, so there might be a changes. Okay, so that changes or that particular word or sentence if changed, that changed the whole meaning, right? This definitely is a problem when we study a manuscript from a historical point of view. Now, insight. The term foreigner is used today for a person who is not an Indian, right? We know that foreigners means what? The person who are not an Indian, but it is not the actual meaning of foreigner. But in medieval period, this term was used for any stranger who was not a member of the society or culture in which he had appeared. Now, in the medieval period, foreigner means what, students? Foreigner means the person who is stranger, who is belong to that particular culture, but no one is known to him, no one is reliable to him or relate to him. That person is known as stranger. The term Pardesi in Hindi is suitable term for that. Now you can see the whole flow chart related to the sources of information in this particular. See, sources of information is divided into two main parts. First is literary sources, means the written work, and archaeological sources means what, students? So archaeological sources related to the architecture or the build up of particular thing. Okay. Now literary sources are divided into two. We learn that. Okay, but there are three parts. First, the writings by court historians. Court historians means what, students? So that we are going to learn about earlier in the further chapter. court chronicles and foreign accounts. And archaeological sources include buildings, coins, paintings, sculptures, inscriptions. Now first we are going to learn about literary sources. Accounts of Indian writer. In the medieval period, we had all kinds of writing. Contemporary writers like Babar's Babarnama, Jahangir's Jahangirnama, fascinating biographies. Contemporary writing means what, students? Biographies means particular writings belong to a person's life. The first-hand accounts of their lives and times. The other very important literary source of this period are accounted by the court historians. Now, who are court historians? Court historians who were appointed by the rulers to record the events of their rule. Means, अगर कोई king है, वो king अपने कोर्ट में कोई पर्सन को एज अ राइटर अपॉइंट करते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि उनका जो रूलिंग ड्यूरेशन है वो नोट डाउन करने के लिए. तो दैट पर्सन इज नोन एज कोर्ट हिस्टोरियन. एंड सम ऑफ दिस मेजर अकाउंट्स ऑफ दिस पीरियड आर अब्दुल फैजल्स अकबरनामा and Ain Akbari. These are the ruling duration of Akbar. Means when Akbar is ruling, he appoint Abul Fazl for the writing of his ruling duration. And an account of Delhi Sultanate by Ziauddin Barani titled Tarikh-e-Firuz Shahi. Now, another types of literary sources are accounts written by scholars. First we are going to learn about that are the court historians. Now we are going to learn about is scholars. Now who are scholars? Scholars are also the person, but they are not appointed by the king. They were written down the books in which they were living, in which kingdom they were living. Now see, you can see here about the kingdoms in which they lived. Means वो जो kingdom में रहते हैं, वो kingdom के बारे में जो books लिखते हैं, that person is known as scholars. And that books are called court chronicles. Raja Tarangini by Kalhana is one example of a perfect court chronicle. This book gives us a detailed account of the history of Kashmir. Chand Bardai's Prithviraj Rasho gave us an account of the rule of Prithviraj Chauhan. Many other writings by Indian writers like Firdausi Shahnama, Inayat Khan's Shahjahanama, Minhaj as-Siraj, Tabaq-e-Firuz Shahi are important examples of literary accounts of this period. Now, Al-Biruni came to India along with Muhammad of Ghazni. He wrote a book called Tahqiq-e-Hind describing social, religious and political conditions of India. When Muhammad of Ghazni attacked or invaded India so many times, with him Al-Biruni came in India, and at that duration he wrote about the Indian culture, Indian politics, Indian social life. Besides accounts of writers, other literary sources include the religious literatures. Means there are so many literary work. Literary work means what? Written work, books that are about the biography of the king, life of the king. Then there should be a court. We learn about the court historians that written down about the ruling duration of king. Then court chronicles means the kingdom in which they were living. They written about that. Then we are going to learn about that is the political, social, cultural life of the India. Then we are going to learn about religious literature. The Ramayana and Mahabharata are the best example of religious literature. Secular literature written in various Indian regional language. Their sources tell us about the life and values of the people who lived at that time. The archival records containing the governmental documents. Now another important thing is that archival record. Archival records are what? That are the governmental documents, royal orders, treaties. Treaties means what? It is also one kind of order. court record, etc. are also an important source of information. These also include the farmans sent by the rulers. Students, up till now, we are learning about the Indian writers' records, literary sources of Indian writers. Now we are going to learn about the foreign accounts. Foreign accounts are an invaluable source of information about the medieval period because the foreign travelers and scholars who visited India wrote candidly and honestly about what they saw and experienced in India. Foreign accounts are what? They were invaluable. Why? Because when foreigners or other countries' people visited India, what they saw, what they experienced, they see that, they experience that, and then written down a book about it. That is the actual worth of the Indian culture and Indian religion. Some important foreign accounts are Al-Biruni's Taqi-e-Hind, Ibn Battuta's Rela, accounts by Al-Masudi, Niccolo Conti, Sir Thomas Roy, Francois Bernier, Domingo Pais, and Macro Polo, etc. Niccolo Conti has a given detailed description of the Vijayanagar kingdom and the capital city of Hampi. Ibn Battuta visited India during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Ibn Battuta, when came in India, that time, who is ruling in India? Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Apart from these writings, we have a lot of writings by Bhakti and Sufi saints and writings in regional languages like Bengali, Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, Tamil and Malayalam, etc. Now we are going to learn about archaeological sources. There are plenty of archaeological sources like monuments, paintings, sculptures, inscriptions, coins, weapons, clothes, ornaments, tools, utensils, etc. belonging of the medieval period. This is what? This all if present. Then we can see that particular things, we can see the clothes, costumes, weapons, coins. We learn from that and we learn about the medieval period of India from that particular thing. And now we are going to first learn about the buildings. Any buildings of historical significance is considered to be a monument. Forts, palaces, temples, houses and other structures gives us a lot of information about the architectural skills, perfections in stone cutting, art of sculptors and brilliance of artists, culture, society and lifestyle of the people. When we see some monuments or some historical buildings, what we observe, that is written down over here, what we observe, the architecture skill of that particular duration. Medieval time में architecture skills क्या होते थे? तो they formed domes, right? Dome type structure होता था उनका. Then perfection in stone cutting. हम अभी भी देखते हैं कि बहुत सारे टेम्पल्स में क्या होता है, तो बहुत सारे स्टेच्यूज होते हैं टेम्पल्स के वॉल पे, राइट? बहुत सारे अलग अलग पोस्चर्स में स्टेच्यूज होते हैं. तो वो कटिंग्स जो होती है वो किस में से की जाती थी? स्टोन कटिंग्स होती थी. तो उनमें बहुत ही परफेक्शन होना चाहिए. तो दैट परफेक्शन इज देयर. देन आर्ट एंड ब्रिलियंस ऑफ आर्टिस्ट. Now second we are going to learn about the coins. Now if I can say student, coins, तो coins क्या थे? तो whenever a new king arrived, और जो भी king होते थे वो अपना एक particular symbol और sign का coin बनाते थे during that rule. मतलब कि अगर कोई किंग है वो अपने रूलिंग ड्यूरेशन में अपने पर्टिकुलर साइन और सिंबल से क्या बनाते थे? कॉइन्स बनाते थे. और वो क्या करते थे? वो उनको अपने किंगडम में अप्लाई करवाते थे, राइट? तो दैट आर द डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ कॉइन्स वर मेड ऑफ गोल्ड, सिल्वर एंड कॉपर. They are analyzed and studied to got historical information. The study of coins is called numismatics. जो कॉइन्स की स्टडी होती है उसे क्या बोला जाता है? न्यूमिस्मेटिक. The person who studied these coins or numismatics get a lot of information about the political, economic and cultural life. What I said earlier, the king posted और we can say कि वो जो coins होते थे उन पे वो क्या स्टैम्प करवाते थे? तो उनके जो वर्ड्स होते थे, उनके जो लैंग्वेजेस होती थी, वो लैंग्वेजेस में वो क्या करते थे, वो कॉइन्स को फॉर्म करवाते थे, जिससे क्या पता चलता था, तो उनका रूलिंग ड्यूरेशन पता चलता था, उनकी रॉयलनेस पता चलती थी, लग्जरियस लाइफ उनकी उनसे डिस्प्ले होती थी. द दिल्ली सुल्तान्स, द मुगल्स एंड द चोलास issued many coins. Now we are going to learn about the paintings. The paintings of the medieval period, such as Mughal, you can see the coins even over here. You can see the language written down over on the coins, so that we can assume that these coins are from the Mughal era, right? The paintings of the medieval period, such as Mughal, Rajasthani, miniature and Deccani, also give us an interesting insight into palace scene and hunting expedition and scenes from mythology. By studying them, we get to know about the costumes, customs, traditions, jewelry, etc. of the medieval period. जो पेंटिंग्स बनाए जाते थे मेडिवल पीरियड में, वी कैन से दैट पेंटिंग्स आर the theme of that paintings are dependent on one hunting scenes of the king, then their court scenes, उनके कोर्ट में जो सीन होते थे उन पे वो इंस्पायर्ड होते थे, कल्चर ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर किंगडम एंड इवन द माइथोलॉजी. Next we are going to learn about the sculptures. Sculptures of the medieval period were mainly statues of god, king and queens. They were generally made of bronze and stone. Sculptures means statues. किसमें से बनाए जाते थे? Most ofly they were made from bronze and stone. They give us information about the hairstyle, costumes and ornaments of medieval period. Next is inscription. Inscription are written records. What is inscription, students? Inscriptions are the written records dealing with royal orders or information about donation to temples and villages. Now written record means what? The inscription किसे बोला जाता है? तो inscription क्या होता है? तो स्टोन पे या कॉपर की प्लेट्स पे या टेम्पल वॉल्स पे जो लिखवाया जाता है डोनेशंस और जो भी कुछ होता है, so that writings are known as inscriptions. So you can see here, some of those are related to the achievements of kings. They were engraved on rocks, stones, copper plates or temple walls. The study of inscription is a scientific process and is called epigraphy. Inscription की जो study होती है, that study is known as epigraphy. These inscriptions give us interesting information about the social, political and economic condition of people of India in the medieval period. Now next is the role of historians. The historians have to analyze all the sources while writing the history. A historian's chief responsibility is to examine and interpret all the sources and write an unbiased and systematic historical account. Now what is the role of historians? Historians means what, students? Historians are the people who are writing about the history. Means they observe the historical sources and writing about that. So they are the historians. And what their main duty? Their main duty is to observe the things properly and write an unbiased and systematic historical accounts. Now a period of varied developments. This is the brief of the whole chapter. The period between 700 and 1750 AD is a very dynamic period because a rich variety of development took place. We learn about it, right? We know that very geographical impact is done over there. Ports were established, ports were built, then so many bowlies were formed to store the water, right? So, and even the very much sources we are learning about it. New groups of people appeared in India during this period This include Turks, Khiljis, Tughlaqs, Mughals and Persians who came from outside, and the Rajputs, Marathas, Sikhs, Jats and the Oms were indigenous people and became politically important in this period. Now students, Oms. Who are Oms? So Oms were belong to the Central Asia. They were the people who were belong to Central Asian part. Second, in other areas also, there were new developments, new food items like potatoes, corns and chilies arrived in the Indian subcontinent. We learn about it when Mughals arrived, new types of food came in India like biryani, ser kurma, right? So like with that even potatoes, corns, chilies, coffee, tea, all these came. Third, the society became more complex as four major castes and varnas got divided and subdivided into a number of jatis or subcastes. Now we learned about it earlier. Major castes are whose? Major varnas, Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Shudras, right? Brahmins, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas and Shudras. These four varnas are there, and that four varnas further subdivided into other parts, and that are known as jatis or subcastes. During this period, powerful empires came up like the Khiljis, Tughlaqs, Mughals and Cholas. Important changes took place in religion. There was the emergence of Bhakti movement, which believed that God can be reached through love and devotion. No expensive or complicated rituals were needed. The Bhakti movement also rejected caste hierarchy. Means, was student, at this medieval period only, Bhakti movement started. Bhakti movement started by Bhakti saints, right? Who believe that if we want to achieve something, we achieve that things through the God. If we truly devote the God, we can achieve anything, right? And we don't need any kind of expensive or complicated rituals. In the period, the new religion Islam arrived in India in the 7th century. This new religion based itself on the worship of one God, Allah, before whom all are equal irrespective of social and economic differences. The history of this dynamic and ever-changing period is often described as medieval, but this long stretch of years from 700 to 1750 AD saw tremendous changes. There were many transformations, and what happened in the 16th and 17th centuries was very different from the development of the 8th or 9th century. Means what student, अर्ली मेडिवल पीरियड में जो चेंजेस हुए थे उससे भी डायनामिक और वास्ट चेंजेस कहाँ पे हुए थे, लेटर मेडिवल पीरियड में हुए थे. Therefore, the question is also asked by many historians today that whether it is justified to label the entire period as medieval. Why it is so? Because in the later medieval period, so many changes were there, so many vast changes were there. And we learned that in the later medieval period, British ruled over India, right? So is that okay to call India, that particular duration, as whole a medieval period? Now, here is the most important thing. People who made the difference in the medieval period, one person came up, that the person name is Sushruta. Sushruta was an early Indian physician and surgeon. Surgeon means the person who were doing the surgeries, right? Lived properly in Varanasi in the 6th century BCE. His work, the Sushruta Samhita, contains 184 chapters. His work means his book, Sushruta Samhita, contains 184 chapters describing 1120 illnesses. मतलब उन्होंने इतनी illnesses को उसके अंदर मेंशन किया हुआ है 700 medical plants, 64 different preparations from mineral sources, मतलब कि mineral sources में से कैसे medicines बनाए जा सकते हैं, and 57 preparations on the animal sources. Animal sources means for students, तो animals से जो हमें मिलते हैं proteins और vitamins, तो उनसे कैसे medicines बना के illnesses को recover किया जाता है, all that displayed in her book, that is Sushruta Samhita. The book contains authentic knowledge of various diseases. It came along with the plants, animals and their derivatives helpful in regaining health. Means उस बुक के अंदर क्या लिखा गया है, तो बहुत सारे नॉलेज दिया गया है कि कैसे प्लांट्स एनिमल्स को यूज करके मेडिसिन्स बना के हाउ वी कैन रिकवर पर्टिकुलर पर्सन's health. Sushruta is said to have inducted successful eye surgery to resolve cataract. He was one of the earliest known surgeons of ancient India.